Coming up, what an excellent day for the electric company. Well, howdy folks, and welcome to minute 59 of the Exorcist Minute, a show where we endeavor to examine, extrapolate, and excavate the Exorcist minute by terrifying minute. My name is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I'm Keenan Diaz.
And we'll be your holy guides on this journey through what some have called the scariest movie of all time. Okay, so our minute begins with the phone ringing and the lights flickering.
And it ends with Chris closing Reagan's window and tucking her in.
Aww. Reagan, close the window. You're trying to heat all of Georgetown. I tell you, the power bill for this place. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so
the power bill of this place compels you.
The power bill of this place Captain Howdy reads the meter and he's like, "Oh boy, I got it." That's how he leaves. He's like, I am not responsible for this. This isn't me. Address all your questions to Miss Chris McNeil. But yeah, that's how this ends. But let's get back to the top of this minute because, oh my gosh, what the holy heck is going on with Chris's house? We got lights flickering on and off. We got the phone ringing. And where is everybody? Mm-hmm. It's weird. But Keenan, how soon did you realize that Chris and Reagan were alone in the house? Because I feel like even just 3 seconds in, before Chris enters the house and picks up the phone, it hit me like, why is nobody else answering the phone? Why is nobody freaking out about the lights, right? Like just the fact that this is going on unchecked until Chris gets there, I knew she was alone before I knew it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about this. This scene, this minute might be a time where we're transitioning because this is kind of a haunted house movie. We've said that before. Mm-hmm. But so far it's been a haunted room movie, right? The attic is haunted or the bedroom is haunted. And now this is oh gosh, the whole house is some creepy, scary place. It's infecting everywhere.
Right.
And it feels very alone. Yeah, I mean, you don't expect to see the lights flickering on and off, and then Willie's in the corner at the light switch going, yeah. Wait until Madam sees this.
That's how Willie and Carl get their kicks. They're just you caught them right before, I swear, Madam, there are no rats in the house, and then he's up there, just stomping around, It's hard to imagine them smiling and giggling because they just don't smile and giggle ever.
Willie's in the corner turning them on and off. It's oh, I am the Bart Simpson of Zurich.
Bart Simpson of Zurich.
What a scamp I am being to Madam.
That is why I have always loved you, Willie. But he says it with that straight, Max gorilla face. It's like, you are turning me on, much like you are turning on the light. Your recklessness and your precocity to danger.
You like my disregard for authority.
And then just immediately, it's like, okay, that is enough fooling around. We are done.
we are done.
Yes. We have had our quota of fun.
Right, exactly. 60 minutes is coming on soon.
Yes. But yeah, in any case, Chris enters the house, enters the frame, and she grabs the phone. Hello? Nothing. Nobody. No one. I am no one. What? So, Keenan, actually, I have some questions about this. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's an answer, or any answer is as good as any other answer, let's say. But what is going on here? We know it's Captain Howdy. We know that, right? It's definitely not Willie or Carl. Much as we'd love it to be.
I'd love it.
That'd be so funny. But yeah, so we know by now it is Captain Howdy. We know that. Even if we're not supposed to know that yet, we know. But I am determined to give our Captain Howdy character agency, even when it seems like he's just behaving like a force of nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
Is he up there with a clipboard? Okay, she's coming home. I gotta get the lights. I got to do the phone. Why'd I even bother turning the milk green? She's not even going to look in the fridge. Like, Howdy, you got to work smarter, not harder. Come on.
Yeah, bud.
Yeah.
Right. But it's probably something, right? Like, I guess you're supposed to think, that he's not doing it with his hands, right? It isn't turning off a switch, but it's something like he's getting more power, and just as a side effect of that, right? The lights are starting. He's messing with the electromagnetism in the house, right?
Okay, I'm glad you said that, right? Because that was my question. Like on the one hand, like, is he engineering all of this stuff, or is it like a shockwave, right? And here's where we sort of can't. Okay, like, we can't avoid spoilers, folks, because like if we wait to talk about what has just happened in this house, if we wait until Chris finds out, that'll be like a week from now for you guys,
right.
And we'll have to be like in that episode, it's like, hey, remember last week, 2 episodes ago, like all the stuff that was happening? Well, it was related. Oh my God, right? We can't do that, right? So it loses its potency. So let's just say that something big has happened. Captain Howdy has done a thing. I did a thing. And so my question here is, after doing that thing, is he now doing more things with the lights and the phone, or is this like a disturbance in the force because he did the thing?
That's what. Yeah, I like to think it's the second, that he's just becoming so powerful in some way, right? He got her, right? He's moving on to the next phase.
Okay, good. Yeah,
but there is absolutely no evidence of that. That's just what I want to believe happening.
Yeah,
yeah. There's nothing I could say. There's nothing I could point to saying this is exactly why I believe that.
There is some stuff, but I think you and I, Keenan, are on the same side about that, about this being kind of like an after effect of it. And there is, I don't know, like maybe there's some other stuff in this minute that's gonna back that up. But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, there is no, like, in the film, there's no concrete thing to say that, like, just an invisible Captain Howdy is just like walking around flicking light switches, and he's up there on the other line with the phone, and he's just like, come on, pick it up.
Right. And we also don't get a shot, say, of Reagan in bed and she's glowing or something, and then we click, and then we cut to a shot of the lights flicking on or off.
Right. She's sucking out all the power of the house, right? Yeah. So any argument is just as valid as any other, right? And like, I'm just asking because now I'm remembering that little fake candle on the wall in the hallway when Reagan's bed was shaking and Mom is running down the hall to the bedroom, and the fake wall candle flickers. And it's like on Captain Howdy's clipboard that day. Is it like, make sure you get the fake wall candle as she's running down the hall, right? It's like, don't miss that.
Right. She's not going to see it, but she's going to feel it. She'll tell it.
Right. That one's for me. That one's for me. That's just, it's my signature. I got to, you can't not do that,
Right.
And Keenan, I'm just asking this because, when I die and I'm up in heaven, dressed in my devil costume, as we have already established, because you can
from when you were 4,
right? Because we know you can do whatever you want, and that's what I will want to do, right? Yeah. When I'm up there, I might just apply for this Captain Howdy position.
Yeah.
I don't want to possess anybody, but I wouldn't mind going back down to earth and throwing a few pots and pans around, opening and closing dresser drawers, that sort of thing. But for that reason, I need to know, like how much do I actually have to do, like, physically, and how much spooky stuff just kind of like happens in my vicinity. Like, also, like, is there a union? Do I have insurance? Because, like, some of that stuff is heavy. Like,
Yeah, the applications, like, must be able to lift 50 pounds, must have flexible work schedule, must be able to thrive in a highly competitive environment.
Right, yes.
Must know 5 years experience, Microsoft Excel.
Right. So that's where they got me, is the Excel. I can actually see Captain Howdy talking to the insurance devils, being like, well, actually, you did all that while you were inside of Reagan. So, right, like, that's the problem, folks, right? You got to read the fine print about, like, what you can do when you're in someone versus when you're not in someone, right? Because you have no legal recourse, right? Because possession is 9/10 of the law.
Do you have a rim shot?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be. But I'm like in this universe, I'm assuming that Captain Howdy is like a top tier performer, right? Like he is the gold standard. So I'm looking at him, I'm looking at what he's doing, and I'm taking notes.
But isn't what you're describing a poltergeist? Not to get too.
So now we got different companies like muscling in on each other, right?
Right, exactly.
So now we got the Poltergeist Union, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, you can't be taking our turf. You can't be doing that." So you're supposed to be worried about the girl. You can the lights and the phone. That's our thing.
I think I'd rather be a dybbuk. You know, a dybbuk.
I've heard of them, but tell our audience.
It's from Jewish cultural mythology. I don't think it's in the Bible anywhere. So it's like kind of a Yiddish sort of spirit, and this is a spirit who comes back and impersonates a living person, and then that's part of the question is you're like, oh, is this dybbuk a real person, or is this is this Lester, or is this a dybbuk impersonator?
Or is this a dybbuk? Oh, how are you supposed to tell? What's the because they always have those telltale signs, right? They turn around and they're like, they've got a tail or something like that, right?
Right. I'm not actually sure, but yeah, I think I like the name a lot. A dybbuk.
I like a dybbuk. Yeah. How to recognize? Now I'm doing how do you spell that?
Oh, a DYBBUK.
Okay. How to recognize a dybbuk? Mm-hmm. I spelled dybbuk right and recognize wrong.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah, thanks. Did you mean recognize, you idiot? Let's see. Dybbuk is a malicious, possessing spirit. Oh, it possesses.
Oh, very nice. It's a dead person that comes into, your living person.
Oh, okay. Well, where's the? Let's see. Oh, the golem is an example of a dybbuk. Wow. Okay.
Oh, I didn't think that. I know the golem, but I didn't.
Right. Yeah. Not Gollum, but golem. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Gollum isn't a dybbuk. He's a
no. He's just an asshole.
Yeah. Oh shoot! I've put it out there that we have to find out how you recognize a dybbuk, and nothing is telling me anything.
Oh, maybe you don't recognize one. Maybe all the stories are the dybbuk wins.
Okay. So folks, we're going to leave that up to you. So if you know how to recognize a dybbuk, or if you are a dybbuk yourself, please write in and tell us how we can identify you from other normal folk. Not to say that you're not normal.
No,
dybbuks.
typical folks.
Yeah, typical. Yeah. So just God, see now I've offended dybbuks, and I gotta. Oh God, we're gonna. He's like 1 star. He's all this generalization of demons and dybbuks and poltergeists. These hosts don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so, in any case, it all seems to stop as soon as Chris answers the phone, right? Mm-hmm. I say it seems like that, but then we're surprised when she hangs up, looks around as the camera moves in, and as she comes closer, the lights flicker and then go out. Mm-hmm. Her face seems to float out of the darkness into view. And I know we said earlier that Chris was looking a little like Captain Howdy herself, right? After all the stress of having to deal with all the doctors and everything. But it's interesting
that skullish,
yeah, right here. It's interesting we see that she's in total blackness and with just this little bit of white bluish light on her face, right? Sort of highlighting what would be the white area of the face of Captain Howdy, right? Mm-hmm. I personally don't think that there's any connection there, but visually it just does sort of remind me of something that we're going to see in just a second. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a reverse image, like a mirror, looking from left to right, the famous Captain Howdy face, the one that we saw before, right, is looking right to left, mm-hmm. and Chris is looking up. The Captain Howdy face that we saw before is looking down, right, and we may note also that the light on her face is roughly the shape of a cross. Mm-hmm. Right? So she looks around and she realizes what we, the audience, have known for some time now, that she is alone in that house, alone with Reagan or something else. Mm-hmm. We don't even know about Reagan at this point, and neither does she, right?
No, one of the things is she's calling out to Sharon, right? So
right.
Which is Cher, right? Which is nice.
Cher, yeah.
Yeah, I like this, and I was thinking about, I don't want to say a lesser movie, but let's say a more modern movie. Okay. It made me realize that Sharon would get killed in the modern version of this movie, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
There'd be more kills. So we have 4 deaths in our movie. One is Mary Karras, who's dying of natural causes.
Right.
But we only have our demon killing 3 people, which seems less than you remember, right? You remember a lot of carnage here. So if this movie were made today, it would probably be Sharon gets killed, either Klein or Dr. Tanny gets killed, and the other one sort of emerges as like, oh, now I'm changed. I would say Kinderman gets killed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like we'd have just a higher body count, right? So this is a question that I'm going to put you on the spot for, Lester.
Okay.
In the requel of The Exorcist coming out soon.
Hate that word. Okay.
Let's take some bets, and we're going to do this live, here, so we can be on the record. How many kills do you think will be in The Exorcist requel?
Oh,
reboot
more for
requel.
sure.
Yeah, so let's I'm going to write down a number.
Okay.
And you could write down a number. And
Okay.
I'm making a guess here, and we'll see if we're right when we're forced to watch this movie.
Okay. Hang on, I'm counting on my. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are we supposed to say it out loud or?
Yeah, you say yours out loud first.
Okay. I think it's going to be 7.
Oh, I'm going with 6. So we're very close.
Ooh, okay. Who are your 6?
Oh, you counted people in the new version of this?
Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I didn't quite have that.
because there might be new characters. Okay,
there's going to be new characters. I think there's going to be someone who's killed in the opening prologue. As opposed to ours, where that doesn't happen at all. I think there are going to be at least 2 cops, and one of the cops is going to die. I think that there's going to be, some kind of like nosy reporter who's going to die.
Okay.
And, I think Chris is going to get killed. And then 1 priest. So I guess that brought me up to 5. So then 1 more random person is going to die. So 6 people.
Wait. Wait. Okay, maybe I played this game wrong. Because I was just counting all the characters from this movie.
Oh no! In the one that's coming out soon, right? It's going to be
This is coming. Okay. So I can't count. Okay, so I can't count Karras and Marin again because
unless they bring him back and kill him.
How would they bring him back? If
that's Hollywood,
a sequel,
baby. They can do whatever they want.
We're calling this a requel.
Somehow,
so it happened
Palpatine
after.
has returned.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Okay, well, but I'm realizing now I can't count their deaths because they're already dead.
Right.
Okay. Now I get it. Okay, so I can't say. Okay, so yes, I agree that Chris would probably die.
Right.
Sharon.
The question is if she's getting killed by the demon or not, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm saying Chris, Sharon, a cop or detective, a doctor among many.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So, Chris, Sharon, and a priest.
All right.
So I only have 5.
All right. Well, I now that you understand the game more, okay, I think 6 people are going to get killed by the demon in the Exorcist sequel reboot, and you think 5. All right.
I think 5.
We'll see how we do.
All right.
When it comes out.
Okay, folks, in the communist future, if you're still allowed to watch that movie, what if in the future, that's the only version of The Exorcist and all the others have been erased. And that's why they find our podcast, because they're like, we need to know if there was another version other than this requel. It says requel, so.
Mentioning, this version you've never seen. In the communist future, Warner Brothers pays you to watch The Exorcist.
Oh my God. Okay. So we're getting back to this minute now. We have our death count. But to speak to that, Keenan, so actually that's really interesting because, and I think we've said this before, but this is a movie where death is really heavy. Like every single one of these deaths is closer to like how you would react to like a real death. Right?
Absolutely.
It's like when Mary Karras leaves us, we're like, oh my God, this is like the saddest thing ever. When other characters that I can't say leave us, we're like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah, we're about to get to that where Sharon and Chris have a very, very real, grounded reaction to a death.
Right. So I think this movie has just the right number of deaths, and because each of them is like every single time somebody dies in this movie, we're like, we're like, no. But, in the requel, we're going to be like, okay, that one's gone, that one's gone, that one's gone, that one's gone.
Right. It'll be a little more in the slasher mode of like, what kind of cool type of kill can we get?
Right. Yeah.
Because in ours,
Yeah.
I mean, we basically repeat two of the kills, or one of the kill is exactly like the other kill.
Oh yeah, right.
Right. And that's like poetic and artistic, but it's not creative and neat and shocking, right?
Because we're not focusing on like the style, the stylishness of the kill,
right?
Where the impact of that character like being killed,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah. So the lights flicker back on, and for just a second, really, like as they're flickering back on, we see Captain Howdy's face in the range above the stove.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Keenan, this is one of the added Captain Howdy appearances, correct?
Yes, absolutely. This was not possible. Well, they could have done it in the 70s, but they decided not to, or it hadn't occurred to them. It's not in the script. We don't have any instance of Captain Howdy in the script here. Right. So this was added for the 2000 release, the version you've never seen.
Gotcha. Okay, but this would still be a shot of like Eileen Dietz when they had like they had her in the makeup. I'm sure they had like plenty of footage and photos lying around, and they just grabbed one and there you go, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So okay, what do you think of this addition? I know we're both fans of Captain Howdy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets way more well, I can't say screen time in a podcast, right? Well, he gets way more screen time in the version that we're writing in our heads, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm trying to imagine this scene as it was without the Captain Howdy face, just the lights flickering, and I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I have seen this with an audience, the version you've never seen, TVYNS, with an audience, and it kind of gets a little bit of a jump scare. I don't know if it's a good one or not. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a quick sort of shock, and then there's usually laughter, which again that happens, right? You're shocked, right. So you're scared, so you laugh, etc.
Right, that doesn't diminish the scare.
Right. I'm not sure if I like it as much. I don't know. It's fast enough that, I mean, if you pull up a screenshot of it, it looks pretty fake. So I don't know if just the quality of the insert here is actually any good, but I don't know. But so in a screenshot, it looks fake. It looks a little cheesy, but in context of it just being like, oh, there's a face there. I mean, that's not too bad, I guess. But I constantly go back and forth with it. I was thinking the same thing as I was watching this minute to get ready for this. I'm not sure whether I like it.
Again, like listeners know, like we both like Captain Howdy, right? Like if there was like you would think more Captain Howdy would make us happy, but yeah, I don't know. Like, okay, this actually brings up something else I was thinking about. Like up until now, we have seen Captain Howdy in the void. Right? Like he's not necessarily in a physical place in the world, right? Like the first time we see him in this version, like the version we've never seen, right? Is when he appears in the hospital to Reagan, right? It's that one shot, he's not actually in the hospital, he's in Reagan's mind, right? Similarly, the second time that we see him, which would actually be the first time in the theatrical, he's in Karras's dream, right? He's either part of it or he's observing it. Actually, what did we say before? I think we had different ideas. Like, is he watching Karras have the dream from afar, or is he in the dream showing himself to Karras?
Oh God, now I can't remember because Karras wouldn't have seen this face before, so it's not Karras remembering it. So it has to be Captain Howdy doing it. Like I see Captain Howdy like in his lair, like the Wicked Witch of the West, and he's looking into the ball and he's watching Karras having the dream. Right.
Like, but he's like, yes.
Because the other option is that he's like groundskeeper Willie in the Shining version of The Simpsons, right?
Right.
Where he says, now if you need me, just use your shin of yours, right? But don't check on me between 4 and 5. That's Willy time. So like Karras is like at his weakest point, that sort of summons Howdy, and he's like, oh God. He's got like Funyuns bags all around him on the couch. He's like, what's time for this? He's
in a fluffy bathrobe, and he's got his slippers, and he's got the towel on his head, and he's like, he throws that all aside. He's like, ooh.
Your mother's dead.
Dude.
Listen, I don't have your file on me right now.
It's at the office. Come on. Jeez.
But you're real sad.
Yes. Am I getting overtime for this? The Flying Nun is on. Come on.
Yeah, John Oliver has a bit that when he snaps his fingers, it summons George Clooney wherever George Clooney is. Oh. And George Clooney is like, I told you have to use that sparingly, like for emergencies, not just to show off for the show. It's too much power to have.
Too much power for one man. Yeah. And so So either way, right? Like he's just in in that dream with Karis, right?
Right.
He's just in a big black void in that shot, right? So whether that void is like Karis's mind or Captain Howdy's like domain, we can actually say that he's not anywhere in the physical world.
Right.
But now we got this face popping up at home on the range.
Lester, no, people listen to this. Like serious people with jobs.
But yeah, like on the stove range, obviously, the range hood. And this is the first of, I can't actually remember how many times, but at least a couple times when he is, I don't even know like if you can say here in the world, but like he's not exclusively in a character's head, right? Like we got him like appearing over somebody's face at some point. But this is the first time like he's not like in the black void somewhere, right?
So then we have to think. So in the theatrical version, the 72 version, like when is the first time he's in the world? Because if you're saying this is the first time here, then maybe that's why Friedkin wanted it earlier. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
The first time would be the hypnotizing scene.
That's we're already almost an hour into the movie before we get Pazuzu or Captain Howdy in the real world, you're saying. So that would be even much further, right?
Yeah.
That's really interesting to think about. I mean, with the version you've never seen, there's sort of this promise that we're going to do things in this 2000s version that we couldn't do in the 73 version, right?
Right.
And this seems to be an easy thing that they could do that would speak to what they were able to do at the time, right, with special effects and et cetera. So I'm not sure it's necessarily good, but it's certainly what was promised with that marketing campaign, right?
Right. I agree with you, Keenan. I think that this is one of those like they go to Friedkin. There's like, hey, like you better like make some. You need to make 10 changes, right? And Friedkin's like, oh shit, like what do I? Okay, we'll put on a new beginning. We'll put on a new ending, and it's like he's up to 9, and he's like, Captain Howdy face. Just put the Captain Howdy face there. There we go. Good.
Do you know Blood Simple, the Coen brothers' first movie?
No.
Well, that came out in 1984, and it was very well received. It wasn't seen a lot. It was a smallish movie, but it won Sundance. It was very well thought of. And then when they went to do the DVD, which I believe was after this Exorcist version, so they went and did whatever that was, the 30th anniversary or whatever. They did their director's cut of Blood Simple, and they actually tightened the editing and made the movie shorter.
Oh,
and I wish that was what happened with more of these. That it wasn't just like we're going to add stuff. You love this movie, and we're going to add things to make it slower, and we're going to add things that you didn't know you wanted. Like the Coen was like, well, now we're 30 years more experienced as editors, and the audience is 30 years more used to quicker pacing, right?
Right.
So let's just make this. They cut out a couple minutes of the movie, without changing without cutting any lines, even without cutting any scenes or anything like that. It's
just like shaving seconds off of scenes. And
exactly.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, see, yeah, that would be interesting, right? But okay, so let's just assume let's take this, because that's our job, right? Like we got to take this movie as it is, right? So Captain Howdy's face appears on the stove range up there, right? But actually, like even as I'm saying this, like I don't know, Keenan, what is happening here? Because Chris doesn't see him.
Right.
She doesn't even notice him or react. Obviously, she doesn't, because he wasn't in the original cut.
Right. Ellen Burstyn wasn't reacting to him. Right.
Right. Oh, it's going to be great. Like in 15 years, Miss Burstyn, like there's going to be a Captain Howdy face, right? Just trust us. But no. So obviously, she's like, if anything, she's reacting to the lights. She's reacting to like just like the eerie mood of the house, right? But by doing it this way, by Shakespeare rules, because she doesn't see him or interact with him or even react to him, that means he really is there.
Okay.
Objectively there. And I know this is kind of like backwards logic, right? But like it sort of follows the Shakespeare rules, but in a weird process of elimination, photo negative way. I guess we're in the Shakespeare trap again. So here we go. Okay, so we talked before about when ghosts appear or when magical, fantastical things happen in Shakespeare plays, right? Like if other people are around and they see it too, it's real. The witches in Macbeth are real because Macbeth and Banquo talk to them, right? And they even have a couple scenes all by themselves, so with nobody else around. So they exist in the real world, objectively.
So
right?
It's not just Macbeth going crazy. Right.
Exactly.
He's going crazy in other ways, I mean.
In other ways, right? Mm-hmm. And to that point, Banquo's ghost later on could just be in Macbeth's head.
Right.
Because nobody else sees him, right? Same thing with Caesar's ghost. Caesar's ghost is only seen by Brutus and nobody else is around. Could be just like a dream or a manifestation of Brutus's guilt, right?
Right.
Hamlet's father's ghost, definitely real because, like, people came and told Hamlet about the ghost and he goes and he meets him. Other people have witnessed the ghost, right?
Right.
But here in this movie, in this minute, in this scene, Chris is alone. Nobody else sees Captain Howdy, but also she doesn't see Captain Howdy. So we can't say this is in Chris's mind.
Right. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, great.
She doesn't even notice it, right?
It's not her imagining it, right?
Yeah, because if she were imagining it, she would react to it, but she doesn't even notice it. Like Keenan, if Captain Howdy appears on the stove range and there's nobody around to see it, is he a tree falling in the wood? Does it make any sense?
Right. Like, if Captain Howdy claps with one hand, what's the sound of that, right?
What's the sound of one Captain Howdy clap? I don't know. But so I actually have an answer to this. But I wanted to see what you think. Like, what is going on in here? Like, because this can't be a manifestation of. It can't be in her mind because she doesn't even notice it.
Right. That's really smart. I hadn't thought of that. That's really cool. So then, like, I guess it's partly, maybe that's why it's a little bit shocking, is because, like, it's Captain Howdy's point of view to some extent, right? It's it's us going, like, I'm gonna be behind this bitch and blah, 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 right? And like we're with him and his experience rather than hers.
Keenan, I'm so glad. So glad you said that. Yes. So, folks, yes, I believe Keenan is right. Folks, here's my interpretation. Listeners, dear listeners, friends, Romans, countrymen, we have been tricked. I believe this is still a Shakespeare thing. We are still here in the Shakespeare trap, right? All these traps are like escape rooms, by the way. I just decided that. Like the way that we get out is we figure out how it relates to the movie, and then we find the door that leads back into the movie, right?
Oh yeah. Sometimes we get in there and don't even plan that there is any relevance to the movie, right?
Yeah. So we're in the Shakespeare trap escape room right now, folks. And we've been staring at this door that says, ghosts, are they real? Are they not real? Right? Like, we'll call that door taboo or not taboo, right? We've been staring at that door thinking that's how we're going to get out of here and back to this movie. And we've been ignoring this huge log flume ride that runs through the middle of this room. And if you look, there's Captain Howdy. He's sitting there in one of the logs all alone. It's a single person log. It's a monologue. And so, yes, folks, that's what I believe this is. Crazy as it may sound, remember what we said. Like, if a character does or says something on stage and nobody else sees it or reacts to it, it is for the audience. It is our benefit. It is a secret shared between that character and the audience. And so even though in this scene, Captain Howdy appears to be looking at Chris doesn't see him. Nobody sees him except us. So that's the thing I think this could be. That's the only way this edition makes any sense, is that this is a brief half-second, maybe even millisecond monologue by Captain Howdy, and he's saying, I'm here, I exist in the world outside of your daughter's mind. I am the one making the lights flicker. I'm the one who made the phone ring. I am here now.
It's his little affirmation song. Like,
yes.
The Greatest Showman, like this, the bearded lady sings this song. That's very similar to that monologue. He's like, this is me, this is us, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come.
Exactly. I'm seeing, like, there's a trend on TikTok now. It's like, it's that part of the song. It's like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah.
This is Howdy's coming out song.
Yeah. And so, yeah, folks, that was that. All of that right there was my monologue. Thank you for bearing with me. Now we can get on this log flume ride and get out of this trap. So here we go. Okay. So now we're out. Awesome. Did you see the little picture they took, like, as you went down? Like,
yeah. I always try to make a silly face, but then I get to the picture area and everyone else is doing the same thing, and I feel kind of lame.
Yeah, I can see it now. Like I'm blinking. Keenan, you're looking for the camera.
Right.
You can't see it. And right behind you is Captain Howdy. He's got like the finger guns and he's like, hey.
Right.
Yeah. So we're back in the movie, right? So the lights flicker back on, and Chris does react to that. She reacts to the lights, and there's this moment where she's looking up. She's looking at something out of frame, and I guess it's supposed to be the lights since they just came on. But in pausing it at this moment, it almost looks like this is the moment of realization. Like, I need to get upstairs and check on Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Something in this house is not right. So yeah, is she looking up at the lights? Is she looking in the direction of the room upstairs? Like, unless I'm mistaken with the geography of the house, it certainly looks like she's staring directly at where the room would be upstairs in relation to like where she's standing.
Okay, let me think in my three-dimensional space abilities here. So the foyer is over there. At the top of the stairs is Chris's room, and over there is Reagan's room. Yeah, roughly. Yes. I see what you're saying. Yes.
And again, folks, we know this isn't a real house. We know it's a set, right? Like, you know, this is like an MC Escher painting with rooms moving all over the place, right? But Friedkin has done a really good job of like establishing like what this fake house would look like if it were real, right? And the dimensions and everything, right? And I don't know, just in my mind, she's looking up at Reagan's bedroom.
Right. In the script, there isn't the phone call. It's just the lights.
Oh.
Because maybe Blatty was like, well, you know, lights and phones, those are two different circuits. I mean, those are two entirely different ideas. Back then, if you don't know, folks, if you're you know, part of the younger generation, you could lose power and the phone would still work. Those are two separate things. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So like maybe to further cement, it's like, hey, this isn't just an electrical problem.
Right.
This is like everything in the house is going crazy.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, in any case, so she moves from here into another room that we have never seen before. Am I right in saying that?
I think so. I was looking at this and I was like, is this where she would have been sitting down and talking to Father Dyer and Mary Jo? Because there's a fireplace here.
Oh,
but yeah, like it's completely reconfigured. It doesn't have any of that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't see a like that. Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure out.
No, I went back and looked. That's a completely different couch and everything. So they have like a bunch of fireplaces in this house.
Yeah, right. Because we got one in Chris's bedroom. We know that.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. So this is a completely
completely different.
Here we are. Here we are. We were just trying to be like, yeah, I think I know the geography of this house. Like, I think she's looking up at Reagan's bedroom, and then she turns the corner and is like, well, I've never seen this before. Like,
yeah, this is that's a new room completely, definitely.
I know this room like the back of my hand. And then we look like that's that old trope, right? Yeah. Oh, God. But yeah, so like it's also different from the rest of the house. Mm-hmm. Like it looks like it might be a study or a den or some kind of like rec room, something like that. Like I guess I'm saying this because of like all the wood paneling. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like like the dad's room. Like it feels like the masculine study area.
Thank you for saying that. Like I was actually worried about being so sure about this. Like this it might even be. Like, I thought this might be crazier than my Shakespeare stuff. But like yeah, like we see this room so quickly and then it's gone again. And I almost thought like, oh, this is the father's room.
Right.
Like this is his little like personal room where he goes and he hides from his wife and daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like how some dads like have a study or a den, mm-hmm. or sometimes like it's the garage. It's like I'm going into the garage, right? But then you remember that Howard isn't in the picture. But now I'm wondering, okay, like when was this house bought? Like, was this his room?
I don't think so. I think it's just like something that the previous family or whatever, they're renting the house, or you know, like this is just expected that you have a man cave in the house if you have enough, if you have enough space for it. Yeah,
right. That's kind of the conclusion that I came to as well. At first I was thinking it was like, oh, maybe it was Howard's like personal room and it's been repurposed, because it also does sort of have like that look of like it used to be something, but then like we got the wood paneling and the ship on the shelf.
Right. Like one of these days we're going to be on a boat in the Mediterranean and away from my damn wife and my damn daughter. Left alone.
Yes. Right. Honey, what are you humming? It's like, oh, no.
Right, but again,
you're reading Treasure Island again, and you're watching Popeye.
Oh, solo mio, away from daughters.
And you're eating Captain Crunch. I told you we only eat Captain Howdy cereal in this.
But now that I'm looking at this with Chris out of my damn way, I'm seeing now. So we have in this little study den area, it's very wood paneled. Everything's brown. We have a brown couch, and we can see through the door into the other room, and that's the white couch that Father Dyer and Mary Jo are on, with another fireplace back there. So Chris would have been on the floor looking up there.
Yeah. So whether or not this was Howard's room or it just came with the house, right? Like we don't know. We can't. I don't think there's any information in the Blattyverse saying whether like when she purchased this house, if it was before or after Howard.
Right.
So now she enters this room, and she doesn't go through it. Instead, she turns left, and okay, maybe I was wrong about the location of the room, because now, like the room upstairs, I'm saying, right? Where she was looking, because now, suddenly now we're upstairs, right? This is Reagan's room. We get this weird sound. So we do a hard cut, like as Chris exits stage left, right? You think she's going to walk through this wood paneling room, but then she turns left and she goes like out of frame, and then it does a hard cut to her opening Reagan's room, and it's this weird like creak. It's like like noise. So time has jumped a little bit, right? Like we're already upstairs now, right? So that means that left turn that she made was to get up the stairs, right? Or
at least to get closer to the stairs, right?
To get closer to the stairs, right? Okay, so maybe I'm still right? Like you go up those stairs and you got to make a sharp turn. You do like a 180, I think, and then you would be moving down the hall to that room. I'm only thinking about this because I want it to be true that Chris was looking up in the direction of the room when she was down in the kitchen. I just want that to be true. But yeah, so we're clearly upstairs now. You can see the hallway behind Chris as she opens the door, right?
Right.
We cut to a shot of the window. It is wide open, and the wind is blowing strong. The curtains are fluttering. But weirdly, they are fluttering out.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Like, I didn't catch that, like, at first, but it's almost as if the source of the wind is inside the room. Get out of the house. The source of the wind is inside the room. So then we cut back to Chris, and we can see that it is freezing in this room now, right? Like, even enough so that we can see her breath, right? And so this must be a refrigerated set by now, correct?
That's right. So this set is built on a soundstage in New York City. And so this entire house has been built. And again, that doesn't mean that everything is fixed. There's usually flyaway walls and that sort of thing. But this is entirely on a set because they need to refrigerate it for the second half of this movie. So it was all on a freezer. And it's interesting because we did at the very beginning of introducing Reagan early on in the movie. We also have Ellen Burstyn being cold, but we don't necessarily need to see her breath. Right? We can just sort of rely on her to do that and just say, "Oh, it's cold."
But she's acting,
right? She's acting, right? But here, right, we need to see that. So that caused a bunch of delays with the film. They had to spend extra time working on getting the set to the right temperature, and they had to be careful about the fight between the very hot lights and the very cold refrigeration.
Right. It kept on like the lights kept on warming the set, so then they had to turn the lights off to cool it up again.
Just wait around for the temperature to be correct.
Yeah, a lot of starting and stopping just because we needed this room to be so cold. I don't know if we necessarily needed this room to be so cold.
But that seeing that breath is really, really evocative. I mean, that's very helpful, I think.
It is a very, very good visual. I really like it.
Yeah. So I would argue for it. I think that's the right decision. So then you take on all these production delays and, freeze your actors and freeze your crew. And I think it's right. So, I mean, like, because it's on this big, giant, the set, the cast and crew are cold when they're not even on camera. So that's kind of the case of it, right? So we have a little girl who's dressed up in a little, pajama set, basically a nightgown. And so she has to be kept warm between takes. And again, I think that sounds pretty rough, but I think this is a a useful reason to make actors go through this, as opposed to just for no reason at all. And again, we don't have any evidence of Linda Blair complaining about it, but
right. She does say in like documentaries and interviews that like to this day she doesn't like being cold.
Right.
But
she doesn't say like, oh, and they did this just for themselves and it's so manipulative. She's like,
Yeah. It was the only way that they could get this visual,
right.
And but certainly like hers is probably like the hardest job because everybody else they got these big heavy priest robes and all that stuff.
And it's easier for them to go step outside and warm up. Like she has to get out of this bed and then resituate everything every time she wants to go outside.
Yeah. But yeah, so and the weird thing about this is like, so we just gave like, all this info on like the refrigeration of the room. We're not even in the part where you would like necessarily think about that, right? Like you tell like, you're like, oh yeah, they had to refrigerate the whole room so they could see the breath in the actors in The Exorcist. It's like, you would think of like scenes way, way, way later. You wouldn't think of this scene, right? Like, yeah. So yeah, it's crazy that this is already happening, but yeah, there we go. This is the, like, I think probably the first refrigeration scene, right?
It looks like it. So again, that's in this minute, a couple of different turning points here. So I was saying it's becoming a haunted house movie where the whole house is haunted. You were saying that it is the one where Captain Howdy is in the physical world. And then we have Reagan's, whatever's going on with Reagan leaching into the environment. So that's all in 1 minute. Big changes happening.
Wow. Yeah. Lots of big changes. Yeah. So yeah, we cut from there to Reagan and she's seemingly asleep face down again, right? Like again with the covers off, right? Unlike last time, we have no indication of whether or not she's faking sleep or maybe Captain Howdy is like letting her sleep now after doing whatever it is she did.
What did she do?
Do you know what your daughter did? Oh no, it would be in another character's voice. Do you know what she did? Your cunting daughter. We do, but we'll never tell. So Chris crosses the room. Chris crosses. And she reaches out to close the window. And she does this little, I don't know, like this lurch forward, like almost like she tripped, right? And she's leaning way out into the night to grab these windows to close them. Chris, be careful. Don't lean so far out like that. You could fall. Anyone could fall out that window that is mysteriously open right now. Like anyone. Like you, Reagan, Carl, Willie, Sharon, I think that's it. Are we missing anybody?
Tommy, Mike,
Jesuit Dean. Like literally anybody that we've seen in this movie could fall to their death outside. Anybody. I think we mentioned everybody. Pazuzu, Captain Howdy, whether or not
the astronaut's going to die up there. I was told
he's going to die up there. What? Keenan, is that what happens? We'll have to find out. I don't know. Who else could have fallen out that window? I don't know. I can't think of a single person. But yeah, so she closes the window. But before she does, we hear the sound of sirens floating up to the room as if carried by that same wind, right? And she closes it and she locks it. And then, actually, before she closes it, she locks it. I sound like Gollum. She locks it. Keenan, if she had just looked down, am I wrong?
She would have seen a whole mess of cops and reporters and firemen and all that.
So, this isn't in our notes. I'm just like, I'm confused. Like, I'm looking at the geography, like, okay, she leans out, obviously, and like almost falls out herself, and she would like, hey, that's all that stuff that was going on downstairs, or like what, like. I don't know.
Oh, that's my stairs. That's the stairs to my house, it turns out, yeah.
So those are the stairs to my house, and who's that down there under that blanket? Well, maybe they're under a blanket so we don't see, right?
Right. That man's face is all hair.
Yeah. So she closes it, she locks it, and then turns and sees now that Reagan is lying in bed uncovered, right? She must have seen Reagan in bed before this, right? I think that's like what that shot of Reagan was supposed to represent, right? Because like you go in there, you're a mom, you see the window open, to your daughter's bedroom, the first place my eyes are going is in that bed. Seeing it's like, okay, is she like, okay, she's there. She's there. Okay, good. So she mutters, shit. And she goes to cover her back up. And that is where our minute ends. That is all I got from my notes. Keenan, you got anything else?
No, I think we got it.
All right. So, Keenan, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think I am, Lester.
Folks, until next time, the power of dybbuks compels you.
We don't know what they are.
We don't know what they are.
You could be one. I don't know.
Hey, yay. You know what? Hey, maybe we're both dybbuks. and we're just like, we think it's instead of a horror, it's like a comedy. And we think that the other one isn't a dybbuk. And it's like, oh man, I can't show Keenan that I'm a dybbuk, or else he's not going to accept me for who I really am, and then he's not going to want to do the podcast with me.
He's going to kick me off the show.
He's going to kick me off the show, and then like it ends with, or the climax is, I go to Las Vegas, you come to LA, and we're having coffee, and it's like, Keenan, I just gotta get something off my chest, and then you do that too. He's like, I gotta get something off my chest, and at the same time, we're like, I'm a dybbuk.
But what's a dybbuk?
I don't know. What's a dybbuk with you? Hey. And then we realize that dybbuk or not, we're still friends.
We're still friends.
Yeah, because it's not what's on the outside, this horrible scaly monster skin.
It's who's on the inside.
It's who's on the inside, and it's a dybbuk. It's not your mom. Your mom's a dybbuk. Your dad's a dybbuk too. They're all dybbuks.